Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Southeast Texas Bigfoot Festival here in Mineola, Texas. We just got done having some fantastic presentations over in the historic Select Theater. With me is the presenter that just got off stage a few minutes ago, as well as the gentleman who runs the historic Select Theater, the annex that we are in right here, as well as the Curiosity Shoppe next door. We have with us Mr. George Jones. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, and I'm doing pretty good.
Absolutely, man. It's, I did not have a chance to make it out here to the Tyler Paranormal. That was last weekend, right?
It was.
How did that go? Did you have a good showing?
It was great. I'm still tired from that.
It takes a lot out of you, man. I've traveled the country doing live AV, and it's one of those. I tell my wife all the time. It's not the work. It's the state of constant cat-like readiness.
Right.
It's the 11 p.m. I get a text from somebody. Hey, house knocked 2 speakers down. You need to come in at 4 a.m. and set them back up.
That's the truth.
Things like that. So yeah, it does really, really wear on you and take a lot, especially when you're organizing an event like Tyler Paranormal or this for a good 6 months before it happens. So glad to hear that you had a good showing, and great to see that even the weekend after that the town isn't showed out,
Right, yeah.
Instead, they showed out.
Yeah, I've been very happy with the turnout for both events. It's been really great. And what you were saying, you're right. It's kind of the tension.
Yeah.
It's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
If I have a beer a couple of days before it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going to just lay down and take a nap.
Yeah, absolutely. You really do have to kind of learn to live off of that adrenaline for a little while. And when you can ask my wife, now that COVID's over, it's granted I call it my travel hangover, because I'll be gone for 7-10 days at a time. And when I come back, I'm in a robe for a day and a half. Like I can do my expenses, and that's about the bandwidth I got.
At least you wear a robe.
So right. Well, tell us a little bit about the Curiosity Shoppe, because I happened to go by there earlier, pick up a nice piece of fluorite for my collection. But what was it that got you into starting up something like that? Because I love curio shops, and especially places that sell like old school toys, things like that, which y'all have in abundance over there.
Well,
so
that's true.
Tell us about it.
First of all, I've been a collector of the odd my whole life. As far back as I can remember. If it looked interesting or different or whatever, classic but not overdone, I would find it, take it home.
Yeah.
But I believe the universe works in mysterious ways. And 7 months ago, you would have never caught me over here in Mineola doing anything. But through a strange series of events, I came over here, ended up running the theater and then the annex, and then I was walking down the street, and the guys that were over there were moving out, and the owner was there, and I said, hey, what are you going to do with this place? He said, I have no idea. Do you want it?
Wow.
And I said, yeah. And
I do.
The next day I said, I'm putting in a curio shop there. Let's do it.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good for you for making it happen, because I think not enough people have that confidence in their self to really put forth and make their dream occur. So good. What was it that brought you to Mineola to begin with?
Well, I had decided that, first of all, the theater itself is haunted. It's 102 years old, oldest continuous operating theater in Texas, some say in the South in general. And I did a couple of ghost hunts over there and was fascinated by it. And then I decided to do a film festival over there. And at that time, the executive director had dropped out, and they asked me to take over, and I told them no 4 times. On the 5th time, they literally got down on their knees and said, George, would you please? And I was like, well, okay. And so that was it. The next thing you know, I'm loving it. I'm just loving it. I'm loving doing this and everything
beautiful.
else. And now I'm moving over here.
That is really great, man. Just to hear the fact that, hey, like you said, one of the longest running theaters in the state of Texas to begin with, and then also haunted, like you said. Myself and Dancer, my technician over here, are staying at the Beckham Hotel.
Oh, I've investigated the Beckham 3 times. It's fantastic.
It is a really, really interesting property. It's really cool. No experiences for us last night.
Nobody got in bed with you?
Nobody got in bed with me. Not that I'm aware of.
What floor are you on?
I'm on the 3rd floor.
That's the one.
I know.
Oh,
I know. Yeah, we were facing the train station. So yeah, I went for the Queen Suites. I was like, this is where the big folks would stay. This is where the people who came through town regularly, the barons, things like that.
There's a woman spirit up there that would like you a lot.
Okay. All right. What's her name?
I can't remember actually.
Okay.
I think it was Dolly, but I'm not sure.
All right.
Yeah,
they were
like
they were telling us about the telephone booth suicide, things like that last night. I'm getting ready to have hopefully the owners on the show to talk a little bit about it and the renovation, because it's really great to see what they've done over there.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a fantastic place.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Well, what was it that got you into the world of the paranormal to begin with, much less running a paranormal convention?
Well, since I was about 2 or 3 years old, I saw things that I tried to tell my parents about that they told me wasn't there. And I had 2 imaginary friends that were stoners.
All right.
Yeah. Not everybody tells you that story, I bet. But, yeah, I was too young to know what that was. But, yeah, they were like, yo, little dude, you're cool. You're going to go far. Do this, man. You rock.
Go, man.
Yeah, and, I'm 3 and 4 years old going, yeah, I rock. I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I saw them just like I'm looking at you now.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, one of them's name was Doobie.
Okay. My son's is Mouse.
Yeah.
My son's is Mouse.
Yeah.
And I am one of those parents that I ask him what he talks to Mouse about. Like I do not discount Mouse because I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
At the time, I was sure that they were just part of the real world. Everybody knew that they were there. I even knew where they had lived.
Yeah.
And then later on, my parents were like, those were your imaginary friends. What?
Wow.
Doobie and Dobby didn't come visit me?
Wow.
Nope.
Pretty wild, man.
I know.
That is. So, and has this been something that carried on throughout your life? Is this something that goes on now?
Yes, it's gone on since I was little. Seeing things and hearing things that other people can, sometimes even receiving messages for others. And
oh, wow.
I call myself a psychic intuitive because it's not like I speak to the dead per se, but if I took the time and focused in on you, I could tell you a lot about yourself and maybe some things that have gone on in your life that you wouldn't think that I would know that might help you.
Wow. I had a really good friend, Rocky Paul Morneau, in Maine, who was in Reader's Digest for being struck by lightning by 3 times in his life and living, and he had the touch like that. It was really interesting. He was an energy healer, and his knuckles would turn green whenever he was holding somebody's hand that needed help. It was the wildest thing in the world, and my wife was never really a believer in such things. She's the skeptic. But man, when we went to Portland, Maine, we went up just to see her mom in York and went to visit an old friend of mine. And he was like, well, Rocky would like to meet you. Y'all have talked on the phone numerous times. And whenever he would call, he'd call me up and goes, hey, man, Rocky wants to talk to you. It was one of those, just be quiet until Rocky stopped talking. And sometimes it'd be 2 hours.
Right.
He'd just be reading you over the phone, and it was the most fascinating thing in the world. And when my wife met him, oh man, it was 180 degrees from her. She got chills. She was like, I've never seen or experienced anything like that. He started telling her stuff about her. It was really wild, man. So I doubt nobody who has such abilities. And what's it like for you to even walk into an environment like this? Because I'm an anxiety sufferer, and sometimes for me, even though I ran rock and roll in clubs for 20 years, sometimes just walking into a tavern just to have a beer at the end of the day or something, just the muddled vibration of a bar or a crowd of people can be rough.
Man, you know, and places like this, when it's what I consider my people.
Yeah.
The energy is high, and I can literally just get drunk off of it. Yeah. I can walk to the room and just soak it up. And I have to kind of shut myself down. Yeah. Because otherwise I start I get loopy. Yeah. Mine, it's almost an exhaustion from having to block it out. Because sometimes, especially if I'm walking around Walmart or stuff I'll hear people's conversations 30, 40 feet away from me. Footsteps will start taking on rhythmic patterns, and it just becomes all overwhelming. So I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm somewhat empathic, but I can't imagine what it's like to be a psychic intuitive and walk into a situation like that. Sometimes it's hard for me not to nail somebody, quote unquote. If I come past somebody or whatever and I get a certain sensation, I want to come over to them and go, it's okay. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that because I don't want to scare them to death.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And even sometimes I'm sure sharing that experience with somebody, even if they're aware, can be tough.
It can be. You get one of three results. One is they're very grateful and they go on with their life. Two, you scare them and never see them again. Or three, they follow you around wanting more advice every day.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what was it that brought you into, was it just your involvement in the paranormal? Did you start doing clearings, paranormal investigations? What was it that brought you into the world of the paranormal and Bigfoot?
I was sitting in the middle of my floor when I was about 6 or 7 years old, playing with some blocks or something, and my mom said, "George, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a paranormal investigator." And this is about 1975.
Wow.
No one knew what that even was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. It just came out of my mouth. And she said, "Well, I guess if you can make money at it, you can do it." And it's like it was meant to be. I have no idea.
Wow.
From that point forward, I've done all sorts of things in the paranormal world. I've gone out long before the TV shows were on, long before it was anything cool, quote unquote.
Sure.
And investigated the deepest, darkest places I could find. Some of it was great, some of it was scary. I've seen so many things I couldn't even begin to tell you. You wouldn't believe me anyway. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot, and I had a premonition when I was very young that I was going to pass away when I was 55, and I'm almost there.
Oh, wow.
And so I've packed as much into my life as I possibly can.
All right.
Writing books, being on TV, being in movies, being... you name it, I have done it. I've done more than most people can ever say they've done because I knew when my time limit was going to be up.
Yeah, man. And what's it like for you? Because I know I was probably 19, and I still vividly remember the dream of flying an airplane and remembering seeing myself crash and see the aftermath, like even my body in the casket. Which is pretty uncommon, but it was a very waking dream for me and something that was very, very real.
So do you avoid planes?
No. I mean, I would fly like almost 30 weeks a year up until COVID.
Right. Right.
I'm far from avoiding planes. But it's one of those, it was a stealing moment in my life. You know, it was one of those moments where it was a dream, but it wasn't a dream, and I didn't quite know what it meant. But I knew that it meant something and that I needed to pay attention to it. So yeah, ever since that moment, I've always, like you said, tried to do as much as I could. If I saw something that I wanted to get involved in, I didn't really hesitate.
It's like a hunger or a drive.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to get it. Even if it doesn't fit, try it.
Yeah.
And then move on.
Yep.
Or stay with it. If you like it a lot, do it twice.
Yeah, and I think on that note, I think what a lot of people miss out on is the fact of just starting down a road will sometimes take you down the branch that you're actively supposed to be on. Whether or not you're supposed to follow what you started with, that's just supposed to be the first step on the journey.
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed.
And it's really interesting how so many people, I think, really do, unfortunately, put themselves in that box.
Well, the world is set up
themselves.
to keep you in a box.
It is.
It's set up for you to get up, go to work, go home, eat, go to bed, do it again.
Yeah.
And it's hard to break that mold or that cycle to get out there and find what you want to do and make a living at it, be able to survive, and still do those things. That's the way the world is. It's meant to keep you as a sheeple.
Yeah, most definitely.
And most people are content with that.
Yeah, and I think also mixed with that is also just culturally, especially here in America, and something that I'm trying to drive into my son. He turns 5 here in just a few weeks, but here in the last 6 months has been the hard conversation whenever he's like, I need that. It's like, whoa. Do you want that or do you need that?
Yeah. Because
you need water. Mm-hmm. You want a soda.
Right.
You need food. You want a treat. See.
Oh.
So kind of that whole idea of realizing that, yeah, you could do it if you pare back in your life a little bit. Like people asked me for years, like how I got all my audio equipment, and I was like, well, I quit smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Everything is a give and take.
And everything that I spent on cigarettes went to buy a microphone.
Yeah,
went to buy cables.
What do you really want?
Exactly. And how hard are you willing to work for it? Because I think a lot of people Even with shows like this, they want to do it. And I've got a very good friend of mine that's got a good horror convention in Houston that he started up, and he wanted to do it. And there wasn't really one that was happening. And the community just responded in kind, and now they come out like crazy. They do horror pop-ups, and they'll have hundreds and hundreds of people, like, with 4 or 5 days notice, and tons of vendors.
And that's what I've been working to build up, and I think I've been successful, and also to do right by other people.
Hey, man, I saw a lot of Comic Cons come and go in Houston, and I'm here to tell you, seems like this is a fairly new event cycle here in this town. But for a town like this, like I was telling you before we started the broadcast, for the fact that there was a paranormal convention here last week, and there are this many people here for a Bigfoot convention this week that didn't necessarily travel here. There are a ton of locals that came in to check out, vendors that bought tickets and everything else. So the fact that they are not festivaled out,
right?
And then you got a race going on coming up. That's happening. You've got you're organizing the Celtic Fest coming up. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's always a fun one.
Well, people automatically associate it with a Renaissance Festival, but that's not exactly what it is. It's a celebration of culture and history.
Yeah.
Specifically targeting the Scottish, the Irish, and the Welsh. 5 stages of live entertainment going on all day. Yes, we have the Highland Games going on.
You can't not have some kilt wearing and caber tossing.
And we have arts and crafts and stuff for the kids, and we have vendors of all shapes and sizes, and we have everything from storytelling to history lessons to dancing and singing to you name it. It's out there all day long. $10 for adults.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. $5 for kids to get out there and just have fun all day long.
And really, once again, to see a small town Texas like this respond in such a reverberant way to these events it's just beautiful. It really is. Like, it warms my heart so much to see a community built within a community.
Well, I can tell you there's something special about Mineola, Texas.
There really is, man.
I don't know what it is. The people here are wonderful.
Yeah.
The place is wonderful. The whole place has this movie-style vibe.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking into a movie set and everybody's on cue.
Yep.
I can't explain to you how wonderful it is.
You know, it really is interesting, because even sitting at the bar at the Beckham last night and just watching people come in and out and watching how they respond to people, because it's still run very much like a boarding house.
Yep.
Like, it was one of those, like, hey, just so you know, we lock the door at 11. If you need to come in later, give us a call and we'll come down.
Yep.
But, like they made coffee for us this morning, all kinds of stuff. And even going on the backside of the Select Theater here is a gas station. My technician and I went to go grab some cash for vendors and stuff like that. And this guy walked in, and the lady behind the counter was like, hey, how you doing? Welcome. And he, from New Mexico, he's like, I do not remember the last time somebody welcomed me into a store.
Right.
And it's like a gas station.
Right.
He was like, wow, thank you.
And even in the middle of the night, we'll be sitting outside in front of the theater or whatever on benches, and people are still strolling along, holding hands.
Oh, man, this place was kicking until at least 11 o'clock last night.
Absolutely.
It was pretty wild, even in this small town, to see how many taverns had popped up, things like that. Just talking to the folks at the Beckham about how much nightlife has started happening around here. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's just a great place with great people, and I'm proud to soon call it home.
Well, I'm sure that they are more than proud to have you over there running the Select. How have things been over there? How long has it been? It's one of the longest running continuous.
Correct.
So it's never actively been out of service.
No, I mean, there was a brief moment of time during COVID where we couldn't do much.
Sure. I don't think anybody counts those.
I don't think so either. But otherwise,
COVID doesn't count toward records.
It's been constantly going, doing movies, plays, stand-up comedy, live bands, you name it. I book it all. Bring it all in through there.
That is great, man. That is absolutely awesome.
That's a fantastic place to work. It's so much fun. Something new every week.
Absolutely, man. And once again, bringing some really, really great stuff to a local community. I mean, just, it blows my mind that this is Mineola, Texas.
I know.
It really does.
Just wait. I've got 3 of these buildings here. Maybe that one too down there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, how about an axe throwing building? We could all have beer and axes. What do you think?
Yeah,
Would that go over? Somebody would probably die, but then we could hunt them paranormally.
That's right. There's nothing like adding a new stop to the tour.
Absolutely.
Your insurance won't love it, but your sales will skyrocket.
Yes.
With that in mind, actually, what is next? What are you looking at doing next?
Well, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to try to put in a Christmas light park out here.
Oh.
Somewhere just outside of town, but it's not going to be like one that you drive through.
Yeah.
It's going to be about that size, but it's going to be a walkthrough with activities and things you can stop and do along the way, where you can, the kids can stop and actually go and talk to Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus can read them a story out of a book. They can go over here and listen to this person singing or do Christmas karaoke. And as they go, there's something different until they get back around to the end of the trail. But also, there's all the beautiful lights and everything everywhere.
Wow.
That's what I'm working on.
That's great. That is great. And once again, just a real great way to bring Mineola alive and bring people from outside of Mineola to Mineola.
Well, the secret for me is I've always liked to provide entertainment for people, especially families and for kids and folks that can't really afford a whole lot.
Yeah.
I try to give them memories.
Absolutely.
Because I grew up as poor as dirt.
Yep.
And the only thing that I can ever say that I took with me out of all that was the good memories.
Yep.
The things that I cherish the most are those memories, and that's what I want to do for other people.
That's it, and just to loop back to what we were talking about a minute ago, getting to that point of realizing what you want, what you need, and realizing that you may want a lot of things, but that's what you need, and that's what families need, Probably one of my biggest blessings over the last 2 years amongst COVID was the fact that I was not on the road 30 weeks a year as my son grew from 3 to 5. That point where he really does identify himself and become himself now. And I would have missed that. I would have not been there for that. So as horrible and weird and crazy as it sounds, I kind of thank God for being able to be there.
No, absolutely right.
It's really weird. It's strange, but it's one of those, like, it provided me an opportunity that I otherwise literally would not have had.
And that's one of the reasons that I do the things I do as well is because I have a daughter. She's 21 now. She actually just got married.
Congratulations, Pop.
But I've done these things that she can be a part of.
Yeah.
And I've let her, anything that she wanted to be a part of, even if she wanted to set up her little table and sell lemonade.
Absolutely.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've encouraged that sort of thing. And now she's doing her own events.
That's great.
Yeah, she does the Tyler Area Vampire Ball.
Oh, wow. All right.
She does the Mineola Bridal Show.
Oh.
And, stuff like that. She's doing her own thing, and they're successful.
That's great.
Because she's grown up watching me do it.
And that's just it. There's nothing like setting that example and passing it on, really.
It makes me very proud.
It's a family business. It's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That is really, really great to hear. Do you have a website where people can go help set up events, anything like that?
I did have toursoftyler.com because that was my original business, but we've had so many other businesses that we've merged together. So now it is Jericho Co-Productions because Jericho is my nickname.
All right.
We don't have a website for that yet, but almost every event and thing that I have is on Facebook.
Yes.
By name.
Yeah.
Tyler Celtic Fest, the Paranormal Con. It's all on there. Or if you can just find me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. George Jones, I'm on there, and then my picture is a wolf howling to me.
And he responds. I'm here to tell you, like, we chatted back and forth, things like that. I called you on the phone, like you picked up. We talked about sponsorship for your show for a minute or two. You were busy at the Select, and I was busy at a show in Houston, and
running back and forth.
Absolutely.
We got there. Here I am.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. And, I love meeting folks like you that are out there putting things like this, bringing communities together and really, really passing that forward to the next generation.
Well, since you're here, there's something that I've really been wanting to talk to you about.
What's that?
Are you aware about your car's extended warranty?
Yes.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah,
actually.
the whole thing.
The whole thing was just to get you here to ask you that question.
That's right. It was funny because when they were doing the Bigfoot calling contest, I was going to go out and mine was going to be to actually call Bigfoot, like on my phone.
Yeah. Mine was going to be to go out there and go, "Hello, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I've got a female nude Bigfoot here.
Hello.
Come on over. Date night."
Well, when can we look for a book from you?
Well, there's a few of them that are out there. Unfortunately,
okay.
There may be, I think the first run sold out, but Haunted Tyler and Beyond.
All right.
Is out there. You might be able to still find it on Amazon. I'm not sure if it's sold out or not. And then Haunted Southern Texas is out there as well. And then I've got several short stories that are horror or science fiction that are available on for Kindle.
Oh, fantastic.
On Amazon and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. And I'm working on a new one.
Oh.
Yes. That deals with astral travel and the sharing of energy.
Oh.
Because I believe that people have two conversations. We're talking face to face, but our spirits are also communicating.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting vibes.
Yeah.
You know, figuring out all kinds of stuff.
We whenever you're ready and you have it ready, make sure to come back on the show because we talk about astral travel, NDEs, stuff like that regularly with folks like, Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, all that. And it's really interesting that you bring that up because astral travel is a hot topic for me. I used to do a lot of dream work. And I was at the point where I could feel the fall coming on, like that falling sensation just before you wake up. And with
you don't want to get into this now.
Yeah.
I can feel a whole story.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Especially when I start throwing in the time travel with the astral.
Ooh, yeah, and that's just it. I definitely want to, because the last time we were talking about it, it was in the slice of remote viewing. Looking at astral travel in the world of remote viewing and how they're so similar.
I can tell you some stuff that will definitely expand your mind.
We will definitely have you back on again and again, George. It's been a great conversation. I want to thank you so much for taking the time on this very, very busy. I'm really, really impressed with how many people have been coming through all of this.
Oh, it's been fun.
It is really fantastic, man. Congratulations. You
Thank
guys
you.
have gone together and put together a great, great event. We should be getting ready here in just a second for a quick break. But
your partner promised me $100 for this, so if I can get that now.
Yeah, it's right here.
Is that the $100?
There you go.
Oh, thank you. All right.
I keep stacks of them everywhere.
I know. You keep your
don't worry
word.
about
I appreciate
it.
that.
Yeah, it's all right. If you see some roaming around, they're probably mine. Just bring them back.
Marilyn Monroe was on the 100, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, she was.
Good. That's what I was hoping for.
The skirt up picture.
Yep.
Once again, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
I look forward to having you back on again and again and again, George.
Anytime you want, brother.
While you're online checking out everything out, checking out all the great books and everything else from our guests today, make sure to stop on by the Facebook page of Southeast Texas Bigfoot. Make sure to stop on by the Facebook page, the Southeast Texas Bigfoot Roadshow, Tyler Paranormal as well, the Tyler Celtic Festival, hopefully the upcoming Tyler or Mineola Christmas Fest,
coming.
All that. So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with you here in just a couple of minutes with a few more guests. We have a whole full roster, so we'll see you in just a few minutes, folks. We'll be right back.